one big thing I do, right, when I watch a little tip, I guess, for people, the cool thing about YouTube is you can change the playback speed. So if you ever want to like break something down, the money is like if you do the change the playback speed to 0.75, you can really break things down. And I want to break down an intro of Ragoza real quick so you could kind of see like what this guy, like, you know, you got power cuts, man. Power cuts, I need to get down. Your cuts, your power cuts are my New Year's resolutions, okay? So look, check us out. All right, so for all of you at home, I'm going to break this down for you at the 0.75 speed, what I think he's doing, and then obviously Ragoza, you let me know if I'm like right or not. But if slowing this down, this is what I think you're doing, the main stuff, the power stuff, right? So he starts out with some chirps, goes into a chirp flare, boomerang, ends with a couple crabs, and then some stabs. Right? Is that what you're doing there?
Yeah. That's well, all right. So the boomerang part, you could consider that a boomerang, but like in my mind, when I'm doing that particular cut, I'm looking at it as a 2-click flare. But really, a boomerang, it's kind of hard to wrap your mind around. It's like a delayed 2-click flare. So the beginning of the boomerang is like I think like 2 or 3 notes into a regular 2-click flare. So that's why like boomerangs have like that kind of cool like delayed. Chris Villa does a lot of them. If you ever listen to Chris Villa, he's actually the reason why I wanted to do boomerangs. But yeah, I mean that's pretty spot on. Honestly, that's a good breakdown.
The easiest way to do it, DJ, is just got to slow it down. But yeah, like these are like a chirp flare is such a useful cut. Mm-hmm. Like my buddy Santi, who works with me all the time, he has that at like doubles time, like of any like, and that's one thing, like that one cut, and then like that's funny. You look at it like a 2-click instead of like a boomerang. Like 2 clicks are so much harder to me than a boomerang. Like I can do a boomerang single time, like continuously, up to like 85, 90 right now, but like I can't wrap my mind around like a double click, like to do it like continuously, like with like to a beat. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So like it was kind of similar for me. Like boomerangs were easier at first because it's a you start with the fader closed with the boomerang.
Yeah.
So it's like usually the open fader cuts are a little bit harder to get down, especially if you're like me and you started off like transforming for the first like 5 years of DJing. It could be really hard to wrap your head around the open fader cuts, starting with the fader open. Like chirps, I remember took me forever to get down. It was like a year and a half until I was comfortable with them.
How do you get chirps so fast? Like, what's your secret with that?
Just the tip. You want to make sure that you're getting just the tip of the sound, and a good way you could do that is like if you get like an ah sample and you want to find that place where it's like the silence right before the sample comes in. So basically, if your hand's on the record, right, it's at the part that's silent right before the ah sample comes in. That's the sweet spot right there. That's where you want to stay when you're doing the chirps, because the second you move, even just the cunt hair forward, you're gonna get a little bit of that sound. But that's it. You want to only move a cunt hair. That's it. Just stay where it's silent right before the ah, and then move just a little bit into the sound, and that's it. So it's all about small and tight record movements. And the same thing with the fader too. Make sure you're keeping the fader like super close to the cutoff, because it's just like the less travel time there is, the faster you can close the fader, and the less travel time there is on the record, the faster you can get back to the beginning of the sample and repeat the scratch. So that's really that's how you play fast in general. It's all about short notes.
But do you use your fingers or your wrist? Like do you anchor your hand or do you use your wrist?
For chirps, I use my wrist.
All right, me
too. For like 2 clicks and things like that, I use my I do like this pinching thing with my thumb and my index finger, kind of like that. But gotcha. For chirps, it's mostly wrist.